Currently on the podium at the Dr. Thandi Ndlovu Memorial or Funeral Service. Friends, colleagues and family are gathering to pay tribute to the late businesswoman, described as a people's person with a compassionate heart, but also as a mother who loved and did the most for her children. Let's dip in now to hear what the minister has to say.
A generous soul who gave her all in whatever she did. It doesn't matter what it was, she gave her all. Even in laughing, she gave her all. Started her liberation journey from the dusty streets of Soweto, went to Fort Hare, and I had the privilege to meet with her when I was a medical student and she was a student at Fort Hare. And even then, she was very clear. She was very persuasive and very articulate, and she was unforgettable. She was a very impressive activist then, but impressive also in stature, compared to me, for instance. She was tall and she was big those days, and very bubble. And of course, she went and joined the glorious movement of our people. She participated almost in every area of our liberation, carried whatever task she was given with distinction, with excellence, but with humility. Comrade Thandi, even when she came back, her power of persuasion, her power as a unifier was not lost. When SAWID, South African Women in Dialogue, had to engage women from the DRC and later Burundi, Thandi was there. Because Thandi had believed and internalized what Mayor Charlotte Maxoxe said in 1938 in Bloemfontein, and I quote, "The work is not for ourselves. Kill the spirit of self and do not live above your people, but with them. And if you rise above them, take somebody with you." And that's exactly what Thandi did. That's exactly what Thandi did. She killed herself. She killed self and made sure that she works and lives for others. And she took not just one with her, she took many when she rose. And when she came back, she could have easily gone to Sandton or some posh place, set up a private practice there, but not Thandi. Thandi went to Orange Farm, where the people are, where they had problems with health, access to doctors, and she went there to be the doctor, to use her skills. And of course, even the movement, when it was in trouble, the Premier will remember that when there was trouble in Gauteng, and they needed a structure there, an interim structure, Thandi was one of the people who were called to serve with, even with, we were there in that structure, Baby, Comrade Josiah Jele, and many others, Comrade, the late Mayor Gowa. She was there. She didn't say, no, Mina, I'm busy. When she was called, she responded. And she worked there, used her persuasive, her unifying, but also her understanding of the movement to make sure that Gauteng goes back to where it should be. She was always ready to give of her talent, selflessness, and sometimes she would take time resources that somebody else would have said, these resources are for my family. But she was ready to share as a cadre. But Thandi was driven by many things that people have mentioned. But for us in the ANC, she was driven by the love of her people. She loved her people. And that's why she did what she did, because of the love of her people and the love of her glorious movement. But she never went off what the ANC had taught her. If you don't go off what the ANC has taught you, everyone in society will find you a good member, whether it's the church, whether it's a club, because the ANC values make you into, besides a freedom fighter, a beautiful human being. It gives you humility, love, compassion, and understanding for other people. Of course, true and dedicated MK combatant, no task, no terrain was impossible for her. We've heard from the business people that through her company, she built more than 80,000 housing units. But that iconic building of the Department of International Relations, named after our icon OR, she was there. Motheo was part of that consortium that built that building. So she didn't only do So what do we say as the ANC as we bid her farewell? We would like to say she's an inspiration to all of us. If we could just try and emulate even half of what she was, even half of what she did, this beautiful country would flourish. This beautiful country would be peaceful. This beautiful country will be prosperous. But this beautiful country will be non-racial and non-sexist. And as she, through her leadership and her success, graced covers of leadership magazines, received awards. I had the privilege of being at one function where she received an award in Sun City from the Chartered Accountants women. And even as she was receiving that, she was still very humble and brought some of her partners to speak there. She didn't take it as a personal, but she took it as a team award. And of course, as Comrade Thandi departs, we should be thinking that in all the seats that she occupied, all the boardrooms, all the tables, all the branches where she was, there'll be an empty seat. And that empty seat must remind us of something. And that empty seat must make us dedicate ourselves to something. The corridors and meetings of our leagues, association organizations such as SAWIC, women's movements shall lose the spark and purpose of vision she brought. Her empty seat shall serve as a reminder of our unaccomplished mission.
That is the Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, speaking today at the funeral of Dr. Thandi Ndlovu, where she is being honored with a special provincial funeral. Described as driven by the love of her people, a true and dedicated MK combatant, but also there Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma talking about how she was at every ANC gathering, and now at every gathering there will be an empty seat. That should remind those who are left behind of her dedication and her commitment to the values of the organization which she served, which is the African National Congress. Of course, she is speaking there on behalf of the ANC, and she will be later on handing over the ANC flag to the son of Dr. Thandi Ndlovu. That is the memorial currently underway in Pretoria, or rather the funeral service currently underway in Pretoria. And of course, she also mentions quite